It was supposed to be a peaceful weekend. Just me and my 12-year-old daughter, Emma. After a difficult year, I decided we needed time away from the city. No traffic, no phones, no noise. Just a small wooden cabin hidden deep in the forest. The nearest neighbor was almost 4 miles away. At first, Emma hated the idea. There won't even be Wi-Fi, she complained as we drove through endless trees. I laughed. That's the point. She rolled her eyes and looked out the window. Neither of us knew we would leave that place terrified, or that someone had already been waiting for us. The cabin appeared at the end of a narrow dirt road. Weathered, silent, the kind of place that looked abandoned until you stepped inside. The owner had left a note on the kitchen table welcoming us. Everything seemed normal for the first few hours. Emma explored the upstairs bedroom while I unpacked groceries. Around sunset she came running downstairs. "Dad." Her voice sounded nervous. "What is it?" She held up a black leather glove. Just one. Not a pair. A single glove. Found this under my bed. I examined it. It looked old but not ancient. Definitely not something that belonged to us. Maybe the previous guest forgot it. At least that's what I told myself. Emma didn't seem convinced. Neither was I. That night we ate dinner, played cards, and watched the rain begin outside. By midnight the storm had become violent. Wind slammed into the cabin walls. Branches scratched against the roof. Everything felt isolated, small, vulnerable. Around 1:30 a.m. I woke up thirsty. As I walked toward the kitchen, I glanced through the front window. For a second, I thought I saw someone standing near the tree line. A dark shape, completely motionless. I blinked. Lightning flashed. The figure was gone. I told myself it had been a tree. Nothing more. The next morning Emma seemed unusually quiet. At breakfast she finally spoke. "Dad, did someone come to my window last night?" I nearly dropped my coffee. "What?" I heard breathing. I laughed nervously. It was probably the storm. She stared at me. It wasn't the storm. That answer stayed in my mind all day. We spent the afternoon hiking nearby trails. Everything seemed normal until we returned. The glove was back, sitting on the kitchen table. Neither of us had moved it there. I knew because I had thrown it into a storage closet before leaving. Emma went pale. "That's not funny." "I didn't do it." For several seconds neither of us spoke. Then I picked up the glove. Something fell out. A folded piece of paper. My stomach tightened. The paper contained only 4 words. "I see you both." No signature. No explanation. Just those words. I immediately checked every door and window. Locked. No signs of forced entry. Nothing missing. Nothing disturbed. Yet someone had entered. Or someone had never left. That evening I called the cabin owner. He sounded confused. When I described the glove, there was a long silence. Then he asked a strange question. "Is it black leather?" "Yes." Another silence. "You should leave." I thought he was joking. "I'm serious," he said. "Pack your things and leave." Before I could ask why, he hung up. I called back several times. No answer. Emma wanted to leave immediately. Honestly, so did I. But the storm had returned. Roads were flooding. Driving through the forest at night felt dangerous. So we decided to wait until morning. Worst decision of my life. By 10 p.m. the cabin felt different. Every creak sounded deliberate. Every shadow seemed wrong. At 11:47 p.m. we heard footsteps on the porch. Slow, heavy, walking from one side to the other. Back and forth, back and forth. I grabbed a flashlight and looked outside. Nothing. The porch was empty. Yet the footsteps continued. Somehow. As if invisible boots were crossing the wood. Emma started crying. I locked every room. Every window. Every door. Then we sat together in the living room waiting for sunrise. At 12:33 a.m. the footsteps stopped. The silence felt even worse. Then came 3 knocks. Tap, tap, tap. On Emma's bedroom window upstairs. We both heard it. The problem? The bedroom was on the 2nd floor. There was no balcony. No ladder. No way anyone could reach it. The knocks came again. Tap, tap, tap. Emma screamed. I ran upstairs. The room was empty, but something had changed. Written in fog on the glass were 2 words. Still here. I felt sick. Someone was playing a game with us, and they were winning. At 2 a.m. I found an old journal hidden beneath loose floorboards near the fireplace. Most pages were damaged, but one entry remained readable. It described a man who lived in the woods decades earlier. A recluse. A stalker. According to local rumors, he spent years secretly watching people through their windows. Watching. Recording. Learning. One winter he disappeared. No body was ever found. The final line in the journal made my blood run cold. He leaves a glove wherever he goes. At 2:40 a.m. Emma fell asleep beside me. I couldn't sleep. I sat watching the windows, watching the darkness, waiting. At exactly 3:15 a.m., a scratching sound began. Slow, deliberate, directly outside the living room window. Scratch, scratch, scratch. It continued for nearly a minute, then stopped. I forced myself to stand. My hands were shaking. I moved toward the glass. The flashlight beam swept across the yard. Nothing. No person. No animal. No movement. Then I noticed something. A folded note resting on the outside windowsill. My heart nearly stopped. I opened the front door, grabbed the note, and ran back inside. 3 words were written on the paper. Look behind you. My entire body froze. Because at that exact moment, Emma whispered from the couch. Dad. Her voice trembled. There's somebody upstairs. Heavy footsteps echoed above us. Slow. Measured. Walking across the 2nd floor. 1 step. Then another. Then another. The sound moved directly above our heads. Emma started crying. I grabbed her hand and rushed toward the front door. The footsteps suddenly became faster. Running. Chasing. The entire cabin shook. We burst outside into the storm and sprinted toward the truck. As I started the engine, I looked back. A figure stood in the upstairs window. Tall. Thin. Perfectly still. watching us leave. Lightning illuminated the face for less than a second, and I realized something impossible. The figure wasn't looking out. It was looking directly at me, smiling. We drove all night. We never returned. Months later, I contacted the cabin owner again. I wanted answers. His reply was short. The glove had appeared before, many times, always with different guests, always followed by reports of someone watching from the woods. And every witness described the same thing. The same smile, the same face, the same figure, standing in a window, watching, waiting, learning. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if we had stayed until sunrise. Then I remember the final message written on that note. A message I never told Emma about. Because beneath the words, "Look behind you," there was a second sentence. One I noticed only later. A sentence that still keeps me awake at night. It said, "I've been inside since the day you arrived.